Hola and welcome to Vilanova, Geltrú, Spain. Located 40 kilometers south of Barcelona on the shores of the Mediterranean, this seaside port is hosting the world's best sailors for the first of 3 AC-37 preliminary regattas. Today, we've got blue skies but no wind. So while we wait, fingers crossed, for a better breeze, let's remind you why we're here. The America's Cup is back for the 37th time. The grand stage in Barcelona awaits. Quite a few changes since last time, so before we go any further, let's get you up to speed. 6 teams are hoping to become the next holders of the legendary trophy. One already has the cup, that's Emirates Team New Zealand. With 11 campaigns and 4 wins since 1987, the Kiwis have become the team to beat.
The America's Cup is now New Zealand's Cup.
They're the defender, having won on home waters in 2021. Their mission now? An unprecedented three-peat. To do it, they'll have to fend off one of 5 possible syndicates. The challenger of record is Sir Ben Ainsley's Ineos Britannia. Sir Ben returns for a 3rd time on a quest to bring the cup back home, after it sailed away across the Atlantic in 1851. It's an almighty task, but neither Sir Ben nor his backer Sir Jim Ratcliffe are built to back down. Could this finally be the Brits' year? They're not the only team with an empty America's Cup trophy cabinet. The New York Yacht Club was its home for 132 years. But the cup hasn't been sighted since the 80s. They were back last time out, but things didn't go their way. So this time, American Magic team boss Terry Hutchinson has a point to prove. But no one needs to settle a score quite like the Italians, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. They've been trying to win the cup since 2000.
Prada finished 48 seconds behind.
Until he does, team principal Patrizio Bertelli just won't quit. The Prada CEO returns for his 7th attempt. Is this finally his time? Against all odds, back in the year 2000, the Swiss won the cup in their first attempt, a feat matched only by the cup's original winner, America, in 1851. Billionaire backer Ernesto Bertarelli has a history of assembling elite sailing squads. This time, he's gone for youth. A lingy are this cup's unknown quantity. Write them off at your peril. And from the newest to one of the oldest, a constant presence since 1970, the French are back. But it'll be an uphill battle for Orient Express Racing, last to enter and playing catch-up. It's an exciting squad of sailing talent that might just surprise. So the stage is set, and the journey to the 37th America's Cup begins. Thankfully, the wind is picking up. I'm Stephen McIver. Joining me in the commentary is Hannah Mills, Glenn Ashby and Peter Lester. Let's head to the water for race 1.
We've got 35 seconds to go and we can see the fleet starting to jostle for that final position. It's going to be a real balancing act, making sure you get that final manoeuvre coming back into the start, staying up on the foil so you can hit the line at full speed. And we've got most of the fleet over to the right-hand side of the screen with 18 seconds to go, lining up on starboard. You've got Emirates Team New Zealand just putting in a jibe at the bottom of the screen, potentially getting a little bit late. You've got American Magic just starting above the line, going to do a final dip to get across the line with 5 seconds to go. It's American Magic looking good to me, lining up with 2, 1, and American Magic off the line. What a start.
OCS France,
Well, the boats
OCS
are all over the place, and the only one got time
restart.
on distance was American Magic, and they are good to go. And you've got Lingy Red Bull Racing still stuck further up the course, but we are away and racing.
Yeah, these 2 boats, American Magic, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli down towards the leeward end. They got beautiful starts. Ineos Britannia coming off on port. The game here is about staying on the foils, and certainly the boats tracking this way, USA, Italy, did make their first tack stick. The New Zealand have also now tacked on the far left. They are on the foils. Advantage probably to Emirates Team New Zealand, although American Magic are matching them, certainly paralleling towards the right-hand side.
Crucial cross here. Looks like Emirates Team New Zealand are across American Magic, so just sneaking into the lead, but they've got another tack to do pretty soon.
Each tack is really key to this upwind leg, staying on the foils. It's very close between New Zealand and American Magic. New Zealand were behind off the line, but they've really been able to put the pedal to the metal.
Heading towards the first mark, for the very first time, top mark for the first time, and it will be Emirates Team New Zealand that will round the mark, but boy, they are doing it tough and have touched down.
Yeah, they had to squeeze for the mark. They were slightly underlaid, and that has meant New Zealand have touched down. The other boats are on the foils, so we've got the French going to the left-hand mark. This is a problem for Emirates Team New Zealand. They squeezed for the mark, fell off the foils. Could see a lead change here, and it will be Orient Express Racing on the foils, round the mark clean.
I mean, what a leg from Orient Express Racing to just keep their boat up and foiling, get through those manoeuvres and get round that mark, foiling away from the rest of the fleet. Absolutely amazing.
Well, considering Orient Express Racing prior to the start had touchdown and was struggling to get up on their foils.
Exactly, and now it is New Zealand struggling to get on the foils. In the meantime, it will be Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, sailed right round underneath Emirates Team New Zealand.
This is the race committee. We are shortening this course to 4 legs, shortening to 4 legs.
So we are a quarter of the way through the race now. Originally 6 legs, down to 4.
Well, for Orient Express Racing, they'll be happy to hear with down to 4 legs, 2 laps. Keep it on the foils, keep pushing. Oh, they get a touchdown.
You have to love how calm they are on these boats. You know, they're racing for points, remember? 10 points for first, 7 for second, 5 for third. It goes 3, 2, 1, and those with the most points by the end of racing tomorrow get to match race the final, a good old match race, which we're looking forward to. But we always said at the beginning of this regatta, you know, if you drop these boats down, you're in trouble. So now you get to see sailors at their best, the best sailing teams, because they're all on one design boats.
This is the race committee. We are shortening this race to 2 legs. Finish at the leeward gate.
So you heard race committee say we're on the final run home.
2 legs down to the finish. Time limits are starting to come into play. 10 minutes a leg, 20 minutes for the race.
So we're on the run home, and runners pushing it. We're on the crawl home, but it doesn't matter. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli sitting in the #1 position, and they're looking for wind. Orient Express Racing, top left of your screen. They're the new kids on the block. The French are closing in. The gap to Orient Express Racing sits around 3 to 4 meters, and what wind we are dealing with.
Yeah, and Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli are on starboard, so they have the right of way. So Orient Express Racing coming back across here. If they're any sort of collision course, they're going to have to get out of the way, and it looks like they think they might be across.
Yeah, it's a pretty aggressive move. So that is Orient Express jibing right on the top, and we could actually see now that the French team, Orient Express, have put themselves in a difficult position being the windward boat. I'm a bit surprised that they jibed there, given that the teams still have at least 1 or 2 jibes before they can get down to the finish. So now we've got Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli coming over towards the right-hand side. Orient Express heading towards the centre of the track. But when they come back on the next jibe, again, it will be advantage to the Italians.
Umpires, Italy, we protested Team France.
This is the umpires, penalty Italy, relative France.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Okay.
So the decision has gone in favour of Orient Express Racing in terms of that intersection.
So they are heading towards the finish line on a shortened race in the opening race of this preliminary regatta here in Vilanova, Geltrú. And they say it doesn't matter how you win, so long as you win. And in many ways, this is the first upset of the regatta, because the team that hasn't had their boat as long as anyone else is going to get the win. Orient Express Racing take maximum 10 points from the first race. So we start with a huge upset. Orient Express Racing take the win and 10 points. But can they make it 2 out of 2? There's plenty more sailing to come. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Vilanova. The AC37 preliminary regatta is underway. 4 races have been scheduled today. Early points went to the French Orient Express Racing, but the weather still isn't playing ball. Light breezes have put the brakes on racing for the time being. So while we wait, let's get to know the French a little better.
Starting the AC40 so late is probably a big challenge, but we are not putting too much pressure on us. The goal will be to keep on learning.
We decide to think differently. We start with a sailing team 2 years ago. Before those big team were sailing, we started a sailing team. And we had the idea to go to the America's Cup.
The choice of the sailing team was also a bold decision to start with a new squad of people, young people. And when we made the decision, 18 months ago, to have Quentin as a skipper, I think that was the first move. To be honest, it worked beyond expectation.
We chose him because he's young, he had pretty good results, he's got a very good charisma, he's a good leader.
He's a natural leader. He knows every strength of his teammates.
I try to keep the essentials, keep it simple every time, every day.
As a sailor, on water, he has really good skills. He knows how to be fast, on the water.
Kevin Peponet, he is really talented, really strong sailor. We are pretty linked together, pretty much same vision and able to put our ego on the side.
This combination is amazing. They chose each other and they decided to have no fear to take this challenge up. So when you see your first boat as a team which started from scratch, sailing with the new colors of the sponsors of Orient Express, you're proud.
The AC40 looks pretty, he's beautiful. When you see inside, it's quite complicated, but to handle it, looks simple.
The feeling on the boat is incredible. The speed on it is quite mind-blowing, really, for such a small boat. And for us to get those first tries under our belt has been amazing, and our learning curve is just through the roof here.
For me, the AC40 is a true success. The competition on those boats will be tight and tough.
The AC40 fleet's probably the most talented group of sailors that we have in sailing on the planet, and so that's an enormous challenge for us, but it's also pretty exciting, and it just motivates us more than anything.
Inside the racing area, a boat is a boat, and it doesn't matter if it's Ben Hensley, Jimmy, Peter Burling or someone else.
We already raced against these big names in other leagues. We know them pretty well, and we already beat them.
We have a squad which has a lot to prove, and we think we can move mountains, push to the limit and do something very difficult to achieve.
As you've probably heard, to win the America's Cup, you need the fastest boat. Design decisions made months and years ago will ultimately determine who gets to hold the cup aloft. But these regattas are different. The one-design AC40s have levelled the playing field. For the sailors, there's nowhere to hide. Victory will go to the team that performs the best on the water. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli didn't get the start they were looking for, but write them off at your peril.
The Italian fans are super passionate about the America's Cup. They love it. Since the first Italian challenge.
Well, I think that the love for Italy of sailing, or the sailing world, everything started with Azzurra in the early 80s.
Soddisfatto, non mi aspettavo niente di più e niente di meno.
My first memory of the Cup was back in the days in 2000 with Luna Rossa. I was just a kid in those years and I was just starting sailing.
Here we go, another argument on proper course.
Luna Rossa won the Challenger Series and got into the final with Emirates Team New Zealand, so that really got into the hearts of everyone.
2007 in Valencia, there was Luna Rossa, was Mascalzone Latino and plus 39. It's plenty for a small nation like Italy.
Italians are really passionate about the ocean and the water, but when it comes to Luna Rossa, it's like a football team. Some of the fans, it's like a religion.
Luna Rossa haven't put a foot wrong this whole race. Definitely looking class act upwind at the moment.
Well, winning the Prada Cup in Auckland was a great moment for the Luna Rossa team. Really, one of the greatest moments the Luna Rossa had in his time.
They are going to the big show. They are going to challenge Emirates Team New Zealand for the 36th America's Cup.
We knew Team New Zealand was faster than us. We knew since day one.
Strong win for Emirates Team New Zealand in race one of the match.
When we did the first race and we lost the first race, Jimmy came to me between races and he said, I think we can beat this guy.
Nobody in New Zealand saw this coming.
Everybody in Italy saw this coming.
And Prada are really, really good.
Final score in the America's Cup match, Defender 7, Challenger 3.
The Italian team every time getting into the final of the Soccer World Cup and losing it. Next time we want to win it, you know, so step by step we might get there closer and closer.
I have no question that Luna Rossa can win the Cup. I have no doubt. We just need to perform well at the right time.
So the waiting game continues here at Vilanova. The breeze is picking up, but it still isn't strong enough to go racing. But the signs are looking good. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. 4 races were scheduled for today, but light winds have led to the cancellation of 2. So let's head back to the water for the second and last race of the day. Early points on the board for France. Can they make it 2 out of 2? Race 2, less than 60 seconds away in the first preliminary regatta of the 37th America's Cup at Vilanova Geltrú, but some teams are struggling to stay up on the foils. Well, Alinghi Red Bull Racing looks okay.
Yeah, I think they're the only team still on the foils, as they will just rip it. They're coming over towards the right, so they have to do a jibe and come back to the line to keep their foiling advantage. We can see New Zealand and Italy are off the foils. USA and France are off the foils, as are GBR, with 12 seconds to go. And this is for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. If they can maintain foils, they're going to be strong. But they're still heading away from the start line. So coming up to the
This is the umpires, OCS, GBR, New Zealand, Italy and Swiss. You all have to restart.
Wow.
GBR clear.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, they're coming back foiling. They must be looking strong.
The only boat on the foils, they went out, they did a beautiful manoeuvre, and the other team's deciding to low ride back to the line. So Alinghi coming downwind here, they have to get across the start line to leeward, make sure the boat's fully across, get the electronic diamond across the start line itself, which it looks like they're doing now. They'll harden up onto the breeze here and try and get through the line to actually start. So they're actually in pretty good shape at the moment.
So we do have a start in race number 2 of this preliminary regatta, and the one team that are up and falling at this point are Alinghi Red Bull Racing. New Zealand clear.
They did that beautifully. All the boats behind them are off the foils, and if Alingi Red Bull Racing can keep going here and not fall off the foils.
Yeah, I wouldn't count your chickens yet, Peter. This race has got a long way to go. It's not over till it's over. It's going to be some tense moments still to come, I think. Well, they are touch and go on this ley line coming in here. We don't want to see a repeat of what happened to Emirates Team New Zealand in the first race, where they were really tight on the ley. They had to come up, they slowed down, the boat fell off the foils, but it just looks like they're going to get round okay here.
Don't see any pressure anywhere, so just keep pushing as much as we can.
Just keep the boat elevated, avoid the touchdown. As they go into their first jibe. Second boat up, so it's Emirates Team New Zealand. They've managed to get their boat up foiling. And the next crucial moment for Emirates Team New Zealand will be this first tack as they come towards the right-hand boundary. But here's our race leader, Alingi Red Bull Racing. They haven't put a foot wrong. Glenn, just the ability to get, it's one thing to get towed up onto the foils. To actually sail your boat up onto the foils, that's a pretty big challenge for Emirates Team New Zealand, and they pulled it off.
Yes, it definitely is. It's, you know, they just managed to get into a slight little bit more breeze, you know, than the rest of the fleet. And I'm just watching Alingi at the moment, and I think they may have pooched that jibe, and this will be massive in the race for them. They just didn't quite pull off the jibe. Emirates Team New Zealand now still foiling at the top of the course. Alingi are going to have to get on their diggers and dig themselves out of a big hole. They're going to need a big excavator bucket on here to get up and going, because Emirates Team New Zealand are charging at the top of the course, and they'll mow them down super quickly.
Alingi's still off the foil. Okay. It'll win this way, eh?
Just have a look at Emirates Team New Zealand's jibe as they come through. They'll be mindful, trying not to touch down. Alingi now sailing displacement mode to the bottom mark gate.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty tense moment on board Alingi, watching Alingi Red Bull Racing, watching Emirates Team New Zealand charging them down, closing the gauge very, very quickly here.
And for New Zealand, they have to be mindful. They don't want to get tangled up with Alingi Red Bull Racing. The priority for Peter Burling and Nathan Outridge will be to keep the boat on the foils as they actually go quite deep, so that they can come back at the right-hand mark quite hot. They won't take the left-hand marker, they'll take the right-hand marker, so that when they do that rotation of turn round the mark, they actually do not stall out. So Emirates Team New Zealand take the lead at Mark 2.
This is the race committee. This race has been shortened to 3 legs. Finish at the windward gate.
Emirates Team New Zealand coming along here now. They're sailing the boat really, really nicely. They've generated a lot of apparent wind here, and they've got the sails depowered. This tack probably is the tack of the race. If they pull this off and they can get through this a little bit lighter at the moment, you know, that'll be basically the race for them. So they're setting up for attack now, accelerating, board going down, spinning the boat, keeping a nice high ride height, managing the heel really well. This will be the critical next 10 seconds. The bustle touches, but I think they've just got enough in the bank there with a beautiful entry to pop the boat back out.
So one more tack for Emirates Team New Zealand. If they can get through this and stay up on the foils, they will be home and dry, heading towards the upwind. Oh, and they've crashed and touched down.
Emirates Team New Zealand get across the line and will win race 2. So day 2 has been a dog race of sorts. Race 1 went to the underdogs, Orient Express Racing. Race 2 went to the top dog, Emirates Team New Zealand. So day 2 has been a dog race of sorts. Race 1 went to the underdogs, Orient Express Racing. Race 2 went to the top dog, Emirates Team New Zealand. Just like day 1, the villain has been the weather, the sailors having to muster all their skills to get the boats on the foils. But the forecast is looking good for tomorrow, and there is promise of more exciting racing.